Hello, Amazon RDS automated backups and read replicas. In this demonstration, we're going to look at automated backup and read replicas. So in Amazon Relational Database Service, or Amazon RDS, we are here, and so we are in the AWS Management Console. So let's use the search function and enter RDS. Then choose the link to the RDS dashboard. So in the console, choose databases. We choose databases. And in preparation for the demonstration, I created a MySQL database instance. As we can see, listed here is our sample database named MyDatabase2. When we select it, we can view the summary in the console. It shows the database identifier, which is the case is the name of the database, and that is my database too. And it also shows the CPU usage, and we can see and the number of concurrent connections and whether the database is available. That right now is available, and in this case is available. So we can also view what engine we are using. In this case, it's MySQL. And then finally, we can take a note of the class that we are using for the instance and the region and availability zone, or AZ, that we have here, that the database resides in. So let's examine the database details. There are a number of links that allows us to see other information about the database instance. And we can see in this case, the connectivity and security link shows the endpoint and port that we can use to connect directly to our instance. And when we select the monitoring link, it shows a launch of Amazon CloudWatch metrics. And then, when we go down, including CPU utilization, and we can see in this case it is picked when the database instance was started. And we can see that there are no other connection to the database. So no one actually using the database at this moment. We can figure out with that one. Okay, we will scroll up and select the link to the next page. We go to the next page, and so as we can see that the free storage space shows how much storage we can allocate to this database instance. If we needed to, we could set up a CloudWatch alarm that notify us when we hit partially minimum threshold, particular minimum threshold. That way, we won't have database fill up and stop working. We can create the alarm using the logs and events link, as we can see. And then when we choose the configuration tab, we get a little more information about the database. Now, not only can we view the database instance ID, we get the engine version. We can examine the instance class, which tells us how many virtual CPUs we have, how much RAM, or what the storage size is, and in this case, that the database is not encrypted. And we can see, and we should remember, if we want to encrypt the storage, we would have to make a snapshot of this database and then restore from the snapshot. And when we restore from a snapshot, we have the option to encrypt the database. So RDS is not like S3, where we can turn encryption on and encrypting becomes encrypted. With RDS, we need to do it when we create the database. So when we create database, we should activate it. On the maintenance and backups tab, when we go, it provides information such as whether it's enabled to upgrade the instance. When minor change occur to the software, in this situation, it's disabled. Later in this demo, we will show how to go in and enable it. The maintenance window shows whether there is any pending maintenance and modification. And then let's scroll up to the top and choose modify. So and then the modified database instance window opens, and information pertain the version of number of database engine is included here, and as we can see, and along with the database instance class, and we can see. So, and multi-AZ deployment. And now this is a demonstration environment, and we don't have a multi-AZ deployments enabled. But in production, we are going to wanna to do that's become of a particular Amazon Web Service availability zone has an issue. We are still have access to our database. And so they continue with the network information, including the security group that in this case was created by default before starting this demonstration. So we also have the certificate authority that we can see, and the YAM database authentication. So in the database, right? And then so here let's set up the database backup, and we are going to set the database backup for 7 days. To 7 days, we have to set the time, and we are going to wanna run the first backup here in a few minutes from now. So we just wait. I'm gonna stop. So and then let's choose the AWS Cloud Shell icon, open a terminal window. And then here, the terminal window opens up on the screen. We can see, okay, in the terminal, we are going to type date-u and enter, and then it shows the time. The command shows that the server time is 23:17 UTC. And then let's go back to the modified database setting and change the backup time for a few minutes ahead. In this case, I'm going to select 23:21, and so in a few minutes the database backup will occur, And so we should, as we continue, we have the log expert section. Please note in production environment, and we are going to want to check these boxes that is here. The error logs are enabled by default, but audit logs, the general logs, and the slow query log are not. So we are going to want to capture that data for troubleshooting purposes. And under maintenance, we are going to choose yes for AutoMiner version upgrade. So if there is a new version on the database engine during a maintenance window, it will be updated. And we choose continue, and okay, choose continue, and then let's schedule this modification to apply immediately. And we choose modify database instance to make our changes. Modify database. Okay, so please note that it might warn if there could be downtime on this when we are on the window. This is not a production environment, so just, and I'm just doing this for the demonstration. But in a production environment, please be aware that we can take down our the database at that time. So let's choose our database. Okay, I want to choose it. And we can, under the maintenance and backup, the AutoMiner version upgrade is enabled. And it's enabled. Okay, go ahead and choose database from the menu, and we choose it. And as we examine our database, it shows that it is available right now. The maintenance window hasn't gone into effect. So we are going to pause the video and just so the maintenance window can go into effect. We scheduled it for a few minutes in advance. And then we are come back and create the replica. Okay, we back. So let's choose our database and then select the maintenance and backup tab that is here. And notice that the snapshot being taken on this particular database is complete. And we can see because we have a maintenance window and the AutoMiner version upgrade was enabled. If there is a new version of this particular database engine, it will be upgraded. If we examine the backup section, it shows that we automated and enable our backup to run every 7 days. We have the latest restore time and the backup window under snapshots. And it still shows that the snapshot is available. If the snapshot exists and we needed to restore, so we could select a snapshot and choose restore. Now let's scroll to the top in the action menu, choose create read replica. And then remember the purpose for creating a read replica is to offload reads of the database from writes, so that we don't have the contention on our primary database. Okay, the name of our database is there, but we are prompted to add a database instance identifier. So let's add my read replica here. My instance, okay, my read replica. Scroll down. We have the database instance information again, and which we have leave as default. And then so we scroll down and then we check everything, and we also have the availability as default, so we don't want to change it. In fact, there are similar options that we had before in terms of when we were looking at the initial database instance. And under connectivity, it shows network information and whether the database is publicly accessible. And we can see it displayed the VPC security group that we are using. In this case, it's a default that's selected when we created the database. So going to additional configuration, and we have encryption options. So we can enable encryption on this particular read replica. If the original is encrypted, we are not making changes to the database instance itself. And this is just for the read replica. And now I scroll all the way down, and we choose create read replica. The snapshot is actually available, and we can see. Select my database to, okay, and then select maintenance and backups. And then scroll down to the snapshot section, as we can see. So if we highlight that particular snapshot and choose restore, okay, we choose restore, we go to the restore snapshot screen, and it shows information regarding the snapshot, and we can see similar to what we saw when we first examined the instance when it was being created, and when creating the read replica, the same things. As we scroll down again, we see option that we saw before, and that one is, let's see, yeah, we have these options before when we go down. And notice that the encryption section doesn't allow us to enable encryption or disable encryption. We doesn't have any option. Sorry, we don't have any option. We are restoring this database from this particular snapshot. And because we didn't enable database encryption when we created the instance, we don't have those options there. If we were restoring the snapshot to a new instance, we would have the option to enable encryption. And then so if let us scroll up, and if we check and then go back and choose database, when we choose database, and now we can see we have our original instance which was named in my database 2, and we have the replica instance which is called my read replica. Okay, now please note that the read replica is still being created, and which is why the region and AC have not shown up yet. Remember, we can create multiple read replicas. And by creating multiple read replicas, we can offload the workload for any reads to our database instance so that we can get better performance. And but it this concludes a demonstration on creating a maintenance window for an RDS instance and creating a read replica. Okay, so thank you so much for watching the video.